I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schulte.
Here.
Mr. Vanderlip.
Here.
Mr. Rule.
Here.
Any additions or subtractions to the agenda?
I don't have any.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Read that.
Motion carries. August 13th, 2024 minutes.
Probably can, but I don't know if anyone else does that. But I have to take a look just to be sure.
Okay.
Make a motion for minutes approval.
I'll support it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. September schedule.
Well, we have to meet the 10th, the 17th to canvass a special election, and the 24th.
I'll make a motion for those 3 dates. Support.
All those in
My
favor?
only question on that is are we confident we're gonna come to an agreement on the Lyon Osceola 2080 today, or would we possibly need Monday to readdress that, or Tuesday, sorry, the 3rd to readdress that, or?
Well, if we don't, we can always add that. I'll put that in the motion too.
Anything further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discuss extension of the 20 agreement with Lyon County for attorney services.
Okay, so here's some copies of the potential extended agreement. I was contacted by Lyon a little while ago about extending the 2080 agreement between our county and their county. They did not manage to hire a county attorney during their second cycle of applicants. At this point, it seems most likely that the position will remain open until the election, at which point someone will probably be elected. The election, I believe, is on November 5th, and it's most likely that whoever they pick will need some time, or at least a couple weeks, to get into the county and get started. So that's the reason for asking for a January 1st extension. I think there's a good chance that both the Sioux County attorney and myself could be done a little before then, but it had seemed obvious at the beginning they were going to need to extend this. They asked for September 3rd. So the agreement stays the same except for the date term and the fact that the rate went up $30 an hour. That was a suggestion of the Sioux County attorney, just to incentivize the Lyon County folks to maybe make as expedient a decision as possible. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that even though it was my understanding, based on who I had spoken to when we originally got into this agreement, that Osceola County would be getting the money earned by my work over there, it turns out that this 2080 actually directs that the money be paid to me. And that is the identical contract to what the Sioux County attorney has. And also I spoke with the former O'Brien County attorney, and that was the arrangement when she worked for Lyon County during the last interim period. It's my understanding, even though I don't have any actual documentation on it, that when the Clay County attorney, or the then Clay County attorney, worked here, she was ultimately also paid the money that she worked for here. So I realize that's maybe a little at variance of the practice that we have had, or that has been described to me. But because this agreement runs out on September 3rd, or at least the one we're under right now, and it can only be modified by agreement of both parties, and Lyon County doesn't have another meeting until this agreement runs out, it seems like the only move really is that I would retain the funds for this, under this agreement, and if you guys want to have a discussion about splitting what I make or what is earned by my work over in Lyon for going forward with an extended agreement, I would be agreeable to that out of a sense of fairness. I realize that's not ideal. I just wanted to bring that to you guys. It had been my intention to bring this to you guys a couple weeks ago, but some folks weren't here. So that's kind of what I got for you guys, and willing to discuss that.
So you're saying that if we deduct what they pay you from what we pay you, is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying the contract directs that the money be paid to Osceola County to be paid to the county attorney. That's what the contract says, to be paid to me. And it's the understanding that I have, speaking with other folks that are doing this for Lyon County and have done it in the past, that they, as attorneys, will retain those funds.
Above their regular wages?
Yes, that is what I was told. That was not my understanding when we entered into this agreement, and I apologize for any confusion. I just want to get out in front of that. I spoke with these folks afterwards, and I had spoken with other staff in the Lyon County Courthouse who work for the county attorney's office and the court, and they had the understanding that I was under the originally. So that's kind of the thing here, and I get that, you know, going forward we can make a different kind of agreement here. I have, this agreement has the same arrangement in it. I can modify it to say to be paid to the county attorney at half the rate earned or something like that. The other thing I would say is that this agreement started in mid-July. It ends the first week of September. This agreement starting September 4th ends 4 months later, essentially. So there's a lot longer term. We'll be just as busy, and I think that, you know, Lyon or Osceola County could also stand to gain some funds through my work over in Lyon for a longer term.
What is that section in here about paying you directly?
It's
What?
9. The Osceola Board shall provide to the Lyon Board monthly billing statements on or about the 30th day of every month for the attorney's Lyon County time and expenses to be reimbursed to Osceola County to be paid to the attorney, which shall include itemization thereof and shall be billed at the hourly rate of $150 an hour. That's the new agreement. It's currently, I believe, $130 an hour. The other thing I also would point out is I delayed giving Lyon County a bill because I knew we were going to talk about this. So I haven't billed them for anything, and neither Osceola County nor I have received anything for hourly work or mileage, because I didn't want any kind of issue or confusion with that.
Is that the same one that I printed?
I guess my reading initially was Nolan McGowan, the Osceola County attorney, hereinafter identified as the attorney, when it says paid to, expenses to be reimbursed to Osceola County to be paid to the attorney. I was viewing that as the county attorney position. So very much saw it the way you had shared previously. I'm aware that Sioux County was doing it the way you're saying now.
And I get that, but I would think that if it was meant to be that, I would say the county attorney's office.
Well, I talked with the Lyon County chair yesterday, and, you know, they would have never dictated how we were gonna compensate things on our end in this agreement, because that really isn't part of their agreement on how we compensate you with our funds.
Well, yeah, but we're all bound by this agreement. So I get your point, Ed, I do, but, you know,
That-
Osceola County and Lyon County are both bound by this agreement.
And he also said that they didn't ask to have the dollar amount changed to 150.
No, they didn't ask to have that changed, but
But if you're writing this up on their behalf, they should have gave the blessing to go from 130 to 150.
yeah, that wasn't, you know, my understanding as to what they would do there, so.
My understanding from talking to them yesterday, they thought we were gonna do it, this was just change the dates on it and extend the time out. So I might I'm fine paying them $130 an hour because that's what we agreed to do with them. And the fact that their board didn't ask to have that changed, I find out a little odd to send that back to them that way, requesting it when they didn't ask to have that change put in there.
Did Sioux County go up to 150 also?
They're considering it today. So that's kind of the time frame was sort of compressed. They didn't really ask us to extend it until a couple weeks ago. At least one of you guys was gone. This got tabled, and both Sue and Osceola are in the same position where this is their Tuesday meeting before the agreement runs out. So they're considering it. I am not aware of any conversations you might have with the line board. It's my understanding that wasn't an issue. If it becomes an issue, well, that can be reconciled too. I'm just doing this because I think that if Sue's charging $150 to incentivize Lion, then we should be charging the same. And that's just my impression of it.
I think it's still something we should have discussed with them, because that's not what they were thinking we were doing today. They thought we were just gonna change the dates on this, that we weren't gonna change anything with the terms.
There's nothing within our discretion to not change the terms. They're asking us to extend, and I think as it goes on, it becomes more of an imposition on our county office, so I think it's reasonable to see the increase.
I'm just saying it would have been nice to talk to them about it so they knew what we were talking about today.
And
And
we can not approve it today and talk about it with them, I guess.
they had also mentioned, as far as the reimbursement, the way they've done it in the past is it's whatever county you're hiring that other attorney from would reimburse for time outside of the normal hours they were there. Because the way this is supposed to work is we're getting reimbursed for the time that you're over there during the time you should be here. So that's the reimbursement to the county for your time somewhere else. Now, if it's outside of those normal hours, according to the folks I talked to in Lyon County, then yeah, you would get that above and beyond that.
Yeah, some people have said that. That's not necessarily the way the whole thing works, because there's a variation of how people
But
apply
it is
this.
the way other people have done it. So I mean, there's not just one way to do this.
Well, some people may have done it like that. That's not my understanding of how Lion characterized it. So we have different understandings of that. And it appears that, at least around here, for the most part, there are exceptions. When a county attorney is doing that work for another county on an extended period of time like this is, they do get paid for it. That wasn't my understanding at the time, but as I've had more conversations, that's what I've learned.
And I've reached out to other counties that said that they did it exactly how I just previously explained. So it's like, there's more than one way to do it. I would rather prefer the other way that it was done, but.
So I guess what I would propose is, because of the way the contract currently reads, it would appear that I should receive the funds that were earned for hourly work. If you guys want to talk about splitting whatever, 130, 150 between here and the county, I think that's actually more than fair to the county, because the reality is I'm working already hours outside of what I am working. If, say, for sake of discussion, we leave this at 150, an attorney with 7 to 8 years of practice, such as myself in private practice, would be charging between $250 and $300 an hour. If the rate at Lion is $150 an hour, that's already roughly half of what I would charge in private practice. And if I'm taking half of that, I'm working for a quarter of what I would charge in private practice, which is a discount to everyone, and Osceola County continues to make money every hour that I work over at Lion. And I think that would be more than fair, especially because this original agreement was for a month and a half. This agreement that they're talking about is for up to 4 months. So Osceola County stands to make some decent money off of the work that I've done, and what I'm talking about here would probably be a little more in line with what Keith has talked about with offsetting things and changing rates, even though I know it doesn't necessarily match. I know you had a more technical kind of appreciation of how that worked than I did with respect to your agreement.
But in your role as the county attorney, you don't really have the opportunity to do side gigs as the full-time county attorney. If you were part-time, you could do all the extra work on the side that you wanted.
Well, yeah, that's true, but that revolves around private practice and my inability to do that. The previous county attorney worked over in O'Brien as a part-time county attorney. Plenty of other county attorneys do work for other counties. There is a county attorney who is the county attorney to 2 counties in southern Iowa. There are variations on how this works, as you said.
So I'd be all right with any of those other variations, but again, in talking with Lyon County, I don't know why we have this language in here to dictate how we're gonna pay you that's not really part of the agreement with them.
It's the same language that the Sioux County attorney had, it's the same language that then O'Brien County attorney had, because this agreement was taken largely stock from what the O'Brien County attorney worked under when she served as interim Lyon County attorney 4 years ago. So that's kind of in keeping with what their practice has been. And like I said, realistically, I think this makes sense to do it this way. And
I guess that's just not how I read it, but the only thing I thought you were getting direct paid for was for the mileage and any other out-of-pocket stuff.
We can come back to that mileage you mentioned. Is it reasonable, or would we want to consider putting use of the county car and reimbursement to the county anytime that's used versus just personal vehicle, or not hassle with it?
I don't think I'd mess with that.
My preference would be not to mess with that, just because, you know, it's 23 miles each way. I would have to go to the garage and grab the car and all that.
So, since Lincoln County has already paid a claim for Sue's billing, did they pay under 130 for that first set, or did they pay the 150?
Everything's been at that 130 rate so far that Sue's got. From my understanding, I haven't looked at Tom's bill, but, you know, they had that original agreement and it was at 130 an hour.
Because he said they approved a claim for that last week, and they were wondering why we haven't sent anything in yet. We have anything.
My reasoning was that I had wanted to have this discussion a little earlier. It just didn't work out for understandable reasons. And I didn't want to send Lyon a bill and have, you know, that bill be due and owing when we hadn't had the chance to have this discussion yet.
So as you had the understanding that the county would get the money with the previous agreement, are you still content with that remaining the case with that billing and the split going forward, or what are you?
My preference would be that I retain the money under the agreement per the terms of the agreement for this first agreement. And going forward, for this agreement that I have proposed here today, we insert language saying half of which is to be paid to the county attorney with respect to the new rate that has been approved. And if it ends up being $130 an hour, that's fine too. But going forward, the idea that the county would take half the money that I make, I think is fair to the county, because then we don't have to worry about, not only am I billing for Lyon, I'm not going to keep a timesheet for Osceola every single week. That's not something I'm going to do. But realistically speaking, I have here my bill, and I have, in the past month and a half, billed 18 3/4 and 1/3 hours to them. Has it actually been just 18 hours that I've worked for them? No, but to be fair, I don't want to, you know, bill them for time that I spend standing there talking to somebody, unless it actually pertains directly to a case. I don't want to bill them for time if I have a repeat conversation with somebody about something. So realistically, I haven't worked that many hours for them. It's not like Osceola County is losing out because I'm going over there. If I have to work extra hours here, I work extra hours. So I don't think anybody's getting short shrift here. Tom and I are doing the work we need to do, but being efficient about it. And Osceola County is still getting me when they need me, when I need to be here. So yeah, my preference, big 30,000 foot view, is that I be paid for the hours up until the end of this agreement on September 3rd. Going forward, we insert language into this new agreement starting September 4th that says that I would get half of the hourly earnings. And then Osceola County would retain the rest. And I get if you guys want to talk about it more, but looking at the calendar, we're in the last week of August. This agreement ends on September 3rd. So it would probably be best if we decided something today, and next week would be the absolute last day. Otherwise, they would not have coverage for juvenile court or civil committals, which are often your most time-sensitive things. So a decision today would be preferable. I know we wanted to talk about it previously and it didn't work out, but I think it would behoove us to get something done today.
I understand the concerns with Lyon County. My conversation with Sioux County officials, I'd be surprised if they were even entertaining remaining at the 130.
I agree with that.
And I have a hard time offering ours for the same rate for an extended period of time when the other county doesn't approach it that way.
No, it's not in here. I can insert it for you if you want. I just had the agreement as I had drafted it and sent it to Rochelle. The proposed language I would go with would be 30th of each day of each month for the attorney's Lyon County time and expenses to be reimbursed to the Osceola County, to be paid to the attorney, to half of which is to be paid to the attorney. That's, I think, simple enough and clear enough.
I thought that'd been evenly split with.
Yeah, that's fine with me too.
Reimbursed to Osceola County to be evenly split with the attorney.
I think that's fair. I think that's just as clear, so. Yeah.
I'll make a motion for approval of the extension at the $150 rate with the insertion of that language, Osceola County, to be reimbursed to Osceola County, evenly split with the attorney.
And would that also include acknowledgement that I would retain the funds made under the original agreement? I mean, it's already what's in the agreement. I just kind of want to make sure that this will play fair here.
I'm not going to include that language of the motion. We'll address this now. And, to be honest, by inserting language to have that be the case, I think it determines that the previous language would allow for that. Whether I like that or agreed with it or not, but was that clear, Rochelle? Sorry.
I think so.
I'll support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion carries.
So are we, so that I'm clear with my office, how are we gonna do prior to this then? Is that another conversation another time, or?
I'll let someone make, someone can make a motion addressing it.
I would just say that under the terms of this agreement, I appreciate that there's, this isn't the most perfect situation, but it says what it says. And there's not enough time to modify this agreement because it would require the agreement of the line board. So, wasn't here to
Go
miss.
back and previously fix the contract that we already had in place. You can do it going forward, so whatever the other one was, is whatever it was. There was no splits, there was no nothing.
Yeah, I don't know that I share the understanding, but I think that's how Sioux County was doing it. And
That's kind of the impression I got.
So I'll submit this bill to Lyon, they'll pay Osceola, and then I'll get that funding, and then going forward, we'll split it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll get that put in.
And you guys, you guys are still here right now.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, we'll do that then. Thanks, guys.
Discuss removing the Bridge K-10 from service.
Good morning. So this is the bridge that's over there off of Tyler Avenue that had a bunch of corn stalks on it from the flood, and the adjacent farmer was looking to clear out the stalks by burning them, and the fire got out of control and burnt the bridge. The bridge is a bridge from 1900, and it has been out of service since 2016. There's been no, movement to restore that bridge. It's on a dirt road, level B road, and only serves one farm who has access from the other side. I did reach out to our bridge structural engineer, and through our own evaluations, it looked at what was there. The piles were in rough shape. The stringers were somewhat rotted from the top, and the decking was gone. About the only thing you could probably have said might have been reused had we restored the bridge may have been the railing, but the railing was in pretty poor condition as well. So as such, we in secondary roads are really assigning no value to the bridge. If we had wanted to do anything, it would have been a total rebuild at that point. But at this point, with what the road serves, our recommendation is going to be to just fully remove the rest of the bridge And as there's no value to what was there from a rehab situation, we do not see that a restitution is required of the farmer. We are going to reach out to the farmer and ask for him to provide a location for us to burn what's left and use some of his land. But at this point, I wanted to bring it to your attention. There's been a lot of discussion about it around the community, and to I guess liken it to taking a road out of service or something like that. I believe that takes the board's authority. So we're not really taking the road out of service, we're simply taking out the crossing. And that's the motion I'd be looking for, is removal of the bridge from service. And from there, I would take it through whatever process is required through the DOT and things like that.
If there's no bridge, do we still need the road?
The road could possibly be, I'm not sure, there might be a field entrance still to the east between the bridge and Tyler Avenue. There still might be a field entrance, so we'll keep the road. It'll still be kept as a level B road though. Certainly from the west, the farmer comes in from that side. But there's still plenty of field. There's probably 1/8 of a mile. The bridge is off the road, so it'll still be kept.
Because even to do the occasional pass down that road, you have to go backwards all the way back to where you came in, because there really isn't anywhere to turn around.
There is no turnaround. There's like a field entrance type. That's it.
Gotcha.
I just have a hard time giving up the rights to a road.
We're not giving up the right of way.
That's why I say
We're
that.
simply
Just-
taking the
just-
bridge out of
yeah.
service. I'm not asking for right of way to be abandoned.
Because that's usually the next question that follows abandonment of bridges.
And that's a question that we could entertain at that point.
Do you need a motion to do that?
I think I would appreciate a motion to say the bridge is going to be taken out of service.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
City of Ashland 2080 agreement.
Thank you. So, years ago when the state redirected how FM funds work, for cities under 500 population, the county receives the FM funding, and then we maintain FM routes through the cities. To help clarify what we truly maintain, though, the mission of the rural county secondary roads program is to maintain the throughput capacity of the farm to market roads, which does not include some of the ancillary things that come through cities, such as sidewalks, curbs and gutters, storm sewers, and things like that. We actually do have a 2080 agreement with the city of Ocheyedan that we use as a model for this. So the city of Ocheyedan's agreement straight up clarifies that they maintain those types of city urban services, suburban services, and the county only really maintains the throughput capacity of the road, the 24 feet of pavement, throughput signage, and things like that. So this is basically the same agreement. There is one thing that is different about Ashton that was not in Ocheyedan, and that is the abandonment by the state of what used to be Highway 60. Now, half of that road from 3rd Street south is a farm to market road, so it's clear that we would maintain that. The segment of Northwest Boulevard North, though, is not a farm to market road. Previously, when the road was abandoned, the county engineer at that time had agreed to continue maintaining Northwest Boulevard. This agreement would maintain that, let's call it verbal or handshake agreement. It's a small segment of road that does include one box culvert. It's 2,000 feet, and there's a box culvert on it. Other than that, the county would maintain all the farm to market routes within the city of Ashton, just like they do with the other cities. We would also maintain the farm to market routes that kind of form the perimeter of Ashton on the north and the west, which are, the jurisdictional boundary runs down the center line, but they really function as county roads and they're farm to market roads. And those roads at least have the same character as a normal county road. We also have in this agreement some swapping of some snow routes that makes sense between our two operational divisions. Where our county shed is over there by the grain elevator, it's a kind of a tight area. It's really more in the heart of the city. Ashton has agreed to continue maintaining that road as a snow route, and then we would maintain the Northwest Boulevard, which is a nice, easy, straight shot for us to kind of continue plowing through. It's not really written in this agreement anywhere, but it's kind of between the lines is Oak Hill Avenue, which used to be a farm to market route, but it was kind of swapped around a few years ago through town. Because of how we're defining everything and making everything clear, that is a city street. So we had been kind of maintaining it as a snow route, but we will no longer plow that road. It will be a full city street at this point, just by not addressing it in this agreement. With that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions. The City of Ashton is here if you have any questions of them as well.
From memory, say First Avenue became farm to market when Oak Hill, they basically swapped,
The
right?
swap of Oak Hill made the farm to market route First Avenue, Third across the bridge, and then down to the new connections out in town. When that happened, Oak Hill was taken off the farm to market route.
Maintenance of the northern part of Northwest Boulevard is reasonable in your opinion?
It's a minor amount. Nobody likes how the state kind of turned over Old 60. We got a significant amount of it here that runs from around the VFW up to Highway 9. But I think it's even more egregious to turn those roads over to the cities. It's my personal opinion.
Make a motion for the approval of the agreement.
I'll support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Consider letter of intent from ISG for the pipeline inspection services. This is basically just the same one that we had last time from Navigator, just swapped out for Summit.
Conversation with the representative from ISG that was interested in continuing this, and the next day South Dakota made a decision that kind of changed what that conversation probably meant, but time will tell. I do think this is good to enter into. I will make a motion for approval.
I'll support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discuss courthouse heating and cooling. Well, Jerry and I met with Rick and Reggie and kind of went through the courthouse to see what our options were for heating and cooling for this, and seeing if we had room to stick individual furnaces on each floor versus going with the boiler heat. Because the boiler's got some life left in it yet, but trying to get parts and everything else is kind of a challenge. And since we're still set up with all the monitoring equipment, there's a lot of stuff so sheet metal can't work on that we have to call that was a GNR in order to come up to fix stuff. So kind of what he threw together was there'd be like AC units down on the floor for these outside the building for this floor, the bottom floor, and then there'd be a couple units up on the roof to provide cooling for the upstairs. And it looks like most of the duct work when you go on the third floor, second floor, whatever that floor is up yonder, all the ductwork is there. There's holes in all, I never look up there, but there is vent holes with the round circular vents and the returnative vents, and all that stuff is upstairs. So you wouldn't have to spend a lot of time picking out where you're gonna go with all this stuff, because the holes are still there. I wasn't sure whether you'd wanna still use the ductwork that was up there, because I don't know what's in that ductwork.
Yesterday, they thought it probably would have to be replaced.
That's kind of what he had said when he came
Yeah.
through all that. But, because it was like $300,000 to just do the chiller, and that didn't address, any of the other issues with the boiler or anything else. So he was thinking, and I'm not, till I get the final numbers from him, you can't really, hold him to anything. The worst case scenario would probably be about $200,000 to switch that out. Best case scenario, probably 150. But then if you're just looking at $300,000 just for that chiller, and that doesn't include labor, or, because I forget who the kid was here from, was it Johnson Controls or something?
Andrew.
Yeah, none of that stuff included labor. That's just parts. So if we were to swap all that stuff over to go with the furnaces and the ductwork, the forced air heat, there'd be some electric heat, I guess, in a couple spots where you couldn't get a gas line in or whatever. But he thought we'd save more money as well with our utility usage going that route too. And then you get rid of Reggie having to have that 2-week exercise period of shutting the boiler down and starting the boiler back up.
Just to control it.
Just to control it. So just from an ease of maintenance standpoint, with that setup, we would never have to call GNR or anybody else to come fix anything, because all stuff could be fixed local, in-house, without having to go out. But I'm open to any other suggestions anybody's got, but it seemed to make a lot of sense how we pitched it. It is, some of the places we were tight on space, you'd end up having to hang that furnace up on the ceiling instead of having it down on the floor, which didn't seem to be much of an issue.
I think we'd kind of thought like hotel units or the mini splits they call them when we last talked, and so that would include a lot more units setting out there. You're talking just one unit basically for each floor then?
You're talking like because he said.
You said two, so it'd be two on the ground that would service the
You
basement
probably
and this
have, like,
floor.
2 huge AC units, out there, kind of like your house,
Mhm.
and maybe 2 on the other side,
Okay.
to however that splits up for the building, because you're talking about these 2 floors. I don't know how many ton AC unit you would have to do that. But we've got the space outside, and they would be able to color code some tin to run all the hoses, wiring, and all that stuff into the building without it looking, I don't know if you've seen the O'Brien one with all the mini splits. There's a lot of issues, I guess, that go along with the mini split program, and this would be a more permanent solution going forward.
Rick and Rob were here yesterday, and he's gonna do a drawing. They thought they would probably need 8 or 9 units after they got through with everything, and he'll do, like I said, he'll do a drawing and present it to the board when they get it finally done. And I had to do a budget amendment, so I asked, and they thought I should amend it for $250 just to be on the safe side. Hopefully it won't cost that much, $250,000. So, but yeah, they were gonna work on.
Yeah, but you're still looking at redoing the entire system versus just that one chiller for 300.
I like the idea.
I think it simplifies
Yeah.
everything, especially from a maintenance standpoint.
So just to control everything, be a lot easier.
Like, he was talking like, you'd have one furnace in one half of the downstairs, another furnace, it's kind of split up into 2, you'd have one on either side type kind of thing.
If you're having problems with one, at least you've got something
Yeah, you still have something floating
addressing
around,
that floor to an extent while the other gets worked on, yeah.
but they're gonna have to run some duct work out. There's enough space up in those ceiling tiles downstairs to run whatever duct stuff you need to do. Same with up on the top floor. This floor, I don't know what I think they were talking individual heat and cooling for
Yeah,
each.
they were. And they thought in between my office and we could put it in the computer room, so then it would take care of the treasurer's and my side, because that computer room gets really hot, and then we have issues with the equipment, so we want to keep that as cool. Cause I was thinking about keeping one of those windows in there in the summer, cause it gets really hot in there. But that's what
They were saying yesterday, they still think 200 is likely reasonable. Would we want to consider 225 for a budget amendment? 'Cause
well, they
that's
told me
around
250.
I understand,
Yeah,
but that's
but-
around 10%, I mean, over 10% increase for contingencies. If it runs more than that, I know we'd do another budget amendment, but at least we're explaining why it ran over that versus, yeah, we just gave room for a lot more. I don't know, just a thought.
I didn't have any hard numbers or anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I just was asking them what they thought I should do, and
I guess I'm basically saying maybe 10% over their estimate or thoughts for contingency versus,
He was gonna have something
25.
in the week.
yeah, he has appointments the end of this week, so starting tomorrow, I think. So Rick is out until next week. So, but Rob was here too. So
We don't need to make a decision on this today. but
no,
Just kind of, if you guys wanna go the other route with the chiller thing and keep all of our ancient equipment we still have currently for heating, you can go that route, but,
I think it's time to eliminate that.
and then I don't know how that, nobody had an idea how that works with the sheriff's office, what that service is for that boiler.
yeah, I
over
think
there.
that's separate. I think Reggie.
Is it separate?
Yeah, that's what he said, that we should
So
be
then we wouldn't
okay.
have to do anything with that anymore.
No, that's what Reggie said. So because he went around with Rob and Rick when they had those questions, so he thought we were okay.
One of the other things that they brought up too was the piping that runs underneath the cement into the building, because we're losing water, so we must have a leak somewhere in that boiler system, because Reggie just keeps having to add to fairly often. So in order to go in and replace, he said, he's guessing there's probably steel pipes, you'd have to cut out all the cement, dig all that stuff back up too. That if we just eliminate that,
You used to have a house with a boiler. And about every 2 weeks, go down, and add a little more water.
and he was saying too that, like the boiler we have now would not be the kind of boiler we would get replaced with as far as the longevity of how long this other one has lasted, because they just don't make things that last that long anymore. So you'd probably get 15 years maybe out of a new boiler. But those are kind of our options.
I like the idea of going furnaces.
So I guess if you guys want to ponder on that until we get some numbers back from Rick to see what we need to do for budget.
With everything Rick's going through, I'm sure it takes a little longer to do things.
So when I do the budget amendment, I have to have the paper this week. What do you want me to do? The 250, the 225, 200? What do you want me to do?
250. So I think that way we should be covered.
Are you okay with that?
I'd prefer less. I'd be okay with 200, and if it goes over, we have to do a budget amendment then, but it's,
Just because we say 250, we don't have to spend it.
I understand that, but we don't know what we're spending 250 on. They're saying about 200, so
Well, when I asked Rob, he had 250 in his head yesterday. So that's why I asked, just because I was doing this budget amendment. So what's the consensus here?
I guess I would say 250.
I would too.
Okay.
You don't need a motion or anything on that, do you?
No, you guys will approve it when we do the budget amendment.
Next item of business would be claims.
two for Bosma Water Service, and there's 313 and 369.
Make a motion to pay them.
Support it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
close to the coming on the building?
That's for the winter time.
All the trays are in, the door people are back, which was kind of starting to hold up the sprinkler system, they needed the doors and everything in. I mean, they're not gonna finish this week, which was the end of the contract. But I think mid-September, we can start getting them in there. But there's now some of the lead items, like the interior doors and the railing is probably not going to arrive for several weeks. So we may occupy the building without the doors in place and not using the mezzanine. There's no railing, it won't be safe to really use it, so.
But at least it's getting close.
Yeah, we will certainly be in for winter.
Good.
No problem. And as long as I see movement, I don't get too crazy or upset about the date with the contractor. So.
Okay, good.
Do we have all our trucks now?
We are starting to pick them up this week and next week. Got the bill.
Will those get parked in the building or?
Yes, those are all for the new building. And we're gonna return the Greeley County truck this week. So this was the last month with the truck as well. So I'm paying a lot of guys to just drive around now this week.
Have that question on the rest of the claims.
Work?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Reggie brought this up, I had to have it on the next agenda, but, to remove the trees out there, he got a bid from Andy Gakey. What we want to do with the trees when we do the jail. I'll add it to the next agenda, but just something to ponder on. If we wanted to remove, some of those trees out there, replace them somewhere in the courthouse, he can do that. Or if Renat didn't want to do that, he would take the trees from us. He would buy the trees from the courthouse, from the county. So I didn't know if we were going to move them anywhere. That one tree, he can't, it's too big. But so we'll talk about it next
So
time.
they all have to be moved.
Over there they do for the building, for the jail. He just said you can't buy trees like that and they're too good to not try to save. So either we can remove them in the courthouse grounds at $2.50 an hour, or he would buy them from us. So I'll put it on the agenda for the next time for you guys to ponder on.
If he buys them, then it don't cost us nothing.
No, I don't know, no, we'll have to come up with the price that we want for them.
You're still gonna have to pay him the $2.50 an hour for all, right?
Well, I don't think so, but I'll double check on that, so. Reggie just gave this to me this morning, so I didn't have a chance to
It takes a
mention
long
it.
time to grow a tree, it might be
Yeah.
better just to relocate them.
I think so. If we can, I think we should.
So, just something to ponder on, and we'll put it on the agenda for next time. Here is claims for you guys to sign.
Your AC held up yesterday.
Yeah, it got to 72 degrees, but it was, it was hot outside.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is, so.
Well, we talked about our own IT person. I forget where that guy was from that was up in the panel. Not the one from Sioux County, but the other one. I was visiting with him about that. And he says, the wages is just the minor part of it. He says the equipment, his tools that he needs to do the job is what costs. The county he was with, there was him and 2 other guys, and he had $1 million budget every year.
Yeah.
So,
If we hired our own IT, I think we would still have to hire Premier to do so many hours because this IT, like Lyon County, they're 24/7. So if she needs a vacation or something, then they still hire so many hours with
yeah.
them.
So that's what I was thinking, just his
Oh,
wages,
yeah.
that's the minor part of the deal. So he says an IT person, you're looking at 80 to 100.
Okay, okay.
He's in $1 million budget.
Okay, we'll have to get that signed and then I'll bring it down to you. Oh,
Which I understand.
Oh, then Ed
They're
will-
our responsibility, I understand.
okay. Will Patrick come up this morning yet, or what's he?
For now, this is what I do.
He doesn't have 2 pages.
2 pages,
Friend of mine
one,
just moved
okay,
up from San
okay.
Antonio to Des Moines, handling the IT. He was at a college handling other IT work. He's doing it for some school system, and it's a couple $100,000 a year.
Oh, no tool?
Couple $100,000 a year. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Big school, big building. And then if you add in all the equipment,
And you gotta give them the tools to work with.
anything going on down in economic development?
Got a loan, somebody applied for a loan tonight. So that's gonna be discussed.
Any other committee reports? If not, I'll take that last item.
Can't have that till 11 o'clock. I have to stay here till 11 to sign paper.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.